which is tweaked in such a way that it doesn't provide any real additional ammunition, but it practically doubles the effectiveness of each individual lasbolt. This increase in power naturally plays absolute havoc with the weapon itself, and you can probably assume that it's only going to last something along the lines of 4 to 5,000 rather than the regular 10,000 shots, but the extra killing power is highly valued by regiments that are essentially expected to fulfill a stormtrooper role. If you're going to be storming into an enemy bunker complex with virtually no warning of when an enemy is going to be popping around a corner, you want that motherfucker to be dead in the first, not the second round. There is, however, relatively few varieties when it comes to power packs. You've got your standard size 1, which is used in las pistol, the standard size 2, which is the most common used in Imperial Guard las guns, the size 3, which is used in highly specialized weapon. For example, the Legion Drop Troopers use size 3. It gives them extra ammunition per power pack for only a small increase in the overall size. This is very useful for drop troops because there's no guarantee that they're going to be resupplied on time if they're going to be resupplied at bloody all. As such, an additional 50 rounds per magazine is highly valued. And of course the aforementioned size 4 that trades ammunition capacity and reliability for extra killing power. This all, of course, has the advantage of letting the Imperial Guard supply officer concentrate on requisitioning 1 or 2 types of ammunition. In fact, entire crusading forces will often be able to make do with only 2 types of power packs, which means that all Imperial Guard regiments can essentially draw their ammunition from the same stockpile. This means that no space is wasted, and it also means that ammunition can be sent to the regiments that are in the most in need of it without having to dig out a specific pattern. In the worst case scenario, a larger expedition might have to supply 4 types of ammunition for specialized troops, which is pretty damn rare. An additional, and technically not entirely legal benefit, is that it allows many regiments to become virtually self-sufficient when it comes to ammunition. Imperial Guardsmen, being soldiers, will scrounge up any last piece of ammunition they can get their hands on, and hopefully, they will not be using all of it, as generally speaking, if the soldier is fighting to the last las pack, he's in deep fucking shit, and has considerably more important things to worry about than whether or not he's going to have enough ammunition for the next engagement. This means that most regiments are going to slowly but surely build up a considerable surplus of ammunition. Now, in all due technicality, Imperial Guard quartermasters will usually request the return of ammunition so that they can keep their books nice and tidy, but, well, let's just say that some ammunition will be returned, and the rest of the power packs will unfortunately have been broken during the fierce fighting of the last few days, regardless of whether or not there's actually been any fighting recently. Luckily, the power pack is fairly easy to produce, and in fact, it is usually produced within the fleet itself. Even small expedition fleets will usually have one Adeptus Mechanicus fabrication vessel along with it, whose primary duty is to keep the unit supplied with replacement lasguns and power packs. Larger forces will have several such ships to make sure that the Imperial Guard troops are always well equipped with ammunition, and especially large troop movements, or even indeed crusades, will have specialized manufacturing ships that can create pretty much anything from heavy bolters to stubbers to tanks to ammo packs to lasguns to missiles to rockets to virtually anything. Generally speaking, however, the standard fabrication ship will produce basic ammunition, and the rest is expected to be ferried in, unless there is a particular need for it. For example, artillery regiments will usually have a specialized manufacturing ship that produces all of their ammunition as well as any and all spare parts that may be required. It is, after all, fairly pointless and extremely wasteful to have to request spare parts from a planet that could be months, if not years away, not to mention completely and utterly impractical. You can't simply take a gun out of service for 6 months because it needs a new fucking gear. Additionally, you can't just carry along all of the replacements, because that shit weighs a lot and it takes up a fuck ton of space as well, whereas unprocessed metal, well, the weight is about the same, but the space requirements are vastly different. But that's still not all. In addition to being extremely versatile, easy to produce, and quite reliable, the power pack can also be recharged. Generally speaking, an Imperial Guardsman will be issued with something along the lines of 3 to 6 power packs at the beginning of a campaign, and those power packs are expected to last the Guardsman throughout the entirety of the fighting. Upon the conclusion of the campaign, the power packs will be handed over to the regimental supply officer, who will send them on to the Mechanicus, who will fix them up. As, of course, over the course of multiple recharges, the battery will slowly but surely start to lose some of its potency. And this is one of the few occasions in which you can trust an Imperial Guardsman to actually hand over his power pack. What basically happens is that an Imperial Guardsman will just happen to find an old power pack lying somewhere near his bunk, for example, that just happens to be pretty old and holds something along the lines of half its previous charge, and seeing as he just happened to find it after having accidentally lost it earlier, or no, he didn't lose it, someone else must have misplaced it, and out of the goodness of his heart, he has now come to the regimental quartermaster to hand over this long-lost power pack, as it must certainly be missing its family very much at this point in time. And speaking of recharging, they can be recharged by any real power source. For example, they have little solar panels on top of them, so they can simply just be put out in the sun and they will be recharged. And in an emergency, the power pack can be placed near to slightly inside of a fire. The power pack will be able to draw quite a lot of energy from this, although it is, of course, going to damage the power pack quite a bit. This is, obviously, a measure of last resort. The weapon can be recharged like this, but don't expect it to be holding the same amount of charges, nor the same amount of shots, and definitely don't expect to be able to do this too many times. Lastly, let's touch briefly upon one of the major modifications of the lasgun. As I mentioned previously, there are a ton of legal and less legal modifications, and even quite a lot of differences within the patterns of the lasgun, the most common being the M35 Galaxy, while you also have some crazy shit like the literally handcrafted las weapons of the Vostroyan Firstborn, but we are now talking about the general purpose weapons, and there is one modification of the weapon that can be considered general purpose, and that is the Imperial Longlass. As the name suggests, this is a sniper variant of the standard issue lasgun. It uses specialized ammunition in the form of so-called hotshot packs that have a far smaller ammunition capacity, just 10 to 20 shots, but they deliver many times the energy. The increase in raw energy also, of course, means that the weapon's effective range is considerably lengthened, as it takes far longer for the bolt to lose all of its lethal force. To aid the wielder in long-range sniping, the weapon is also equipped with a high-powered scope, which is quite a rarity within the Imperial Guard. A basic lasgun will only really be equipped with something like a small scope or a reflex sight if it comes from a fairly advanced world, or if it is a regiment that is considered particularly important. Generally speaking, the standard issue Imperial lasgun comes equipped with a good old-fashioned iron sight, and very little else. But that is not the only difference between a long las and a standard issue lasgun. It also comes with a few additional nifty mechanical nonsense pieces, and it is considerably longer than a basic las weapon. Specifically, the barrel is longer. The barrel can also easily be removed from the weapon by an unlock function. It can essentially just be screwed straight out. This is important because the weapon's increased power outage means that a basic barrel will only last something along the lines of 30 to 50 shots, depending on, of course, the rate of fire, the expertise of the wielder, etc., and any available coolant. You could potentially get a barrel up into as much as 60 shots with an available source of coolant, be it, for example, snow or something, but at that point the barrel will be dangerously warped and might just simply rupture, which is a bit of a problem. Due to the weapon's considerably higher power yield, it is also considered to be slightly more unstable than the basic las weapon. Now, it's still very unlikely that anything bad is going to happen to it, but